I want you to imagine, just for a second, that you are checking into a hotel.
Okay.
You walk up to the front desk, and you give them a name. Could be your name, could be like a totally fake name. It honestly doesn't matter because they don't check.
Right.
You never show a passport or an ID. You don't leave a credit card on file, and they certainly don't ask you for an upfront deposit.
Wow.
Yeah, they just hand you a key. So you stay the night, you enjoy a nice breakfast, and the next morning you pack up your bags, skip out on paying the bill, and just walk right out the front door.
And nobody stops you.
Nobody stops you. Nobody even bothers to check your room.
I mean, in almost any business context, anywhere in the world, what you just described is, well, it's a crime.
Right, it's theft. Like if you do that at a Marriott, they are immediately calling the police.
Oh, absolutely.
But in today's deep dive, we are exploring a place where preventing this exact scenario is completely and intentionally ignored.
Yeah, and they aren't ignoring it out of laziness either.
No, not at all. They are throwing out the entire concept of business security in favor of something much, much bigger.
It is a totally fascinating subversion of like everything we understand about commerce and human nature.
For sure.
What we are unpacking today comes from an August 2018 manifesto of sorts. It's titled Treating People with Heavenly Standards. And it was written by someone named Su Feng.
Okay.
And it basically details the daily operations of a specific bed and breakfast located in British Columbia, Canada.
But this isn't just, a quirky mom and pop operation that forgot to buy a credit card reader.
Oh, no. It is run by a group called the Lifechanyuan International Family.
Right. And our mission today is to really figure out what happens when a real-world functioning business completely rejects standard security measures.
Exactly.
We are talking about operating entirely on a philosophy of radical, almost cosmic trust. And I am so excited to get into this because as a social experiment, it goes against every single instinct you have if you've ever, worked in customer service or run a business.
It really does. It provides this incredible lens into the tension between practical, day-to-day business management, actually protecting your assets, and absolute spiritual idealism.
Yeah.
It asks a deeply uncomfortable question, which is, can you run a business not based on how humans actually behave, but on how you believe humans should behave?
Okay, we need to break down this jarringly simple guest experience because it is just wild to me.
Let's do it.
Let's say you want to stay at this B&B in British Columbia. You can book over the phone, or you can use a totally standard site like booking.com.
Right. Very normal so far.
Very normal.
Yeah.
But all you provide is a name and a phone number. That's it. That's the entire barrier to entry. When you arrive, there is no passport check. There's no ID scan. There are 0 registration forms to fill out.
Which is already unheard of for international lodging. Like usually they need your passport on file just for local compliance.
Exactly. And you don't pay up front, and there's absolutely no security deposit. They just ask your name, they smile, and they walk you to your room.
It's crazy.
Think about modern travel for a second. When you or I go to a hotel, before they even hand over the little plastic key card, they swipe your credit card to put a hold on it for, incidentals.
Yeah, that terrifying $50 hold.
Right. They want to make sure that if you raid the minibar for a $20 water bottle or accidentally break a mirror, they are covered. We are so used to that transactional friction, we practically expect to be treated like potential vandals.
We really do. And the departure from this B&B is just as unconventional.
How so?
Well, after waking up, guests are served what Su Feng describes as a rich breakfast. They eat, they go back to their rooms, pack up, hand over the key, pay whatever they owe for the room, and leave.
Wait, they just declare what they owe and hand over the cash or card themselves?
Exactly. But here is the most crucial detail of the entire operation. The staff never, ever goes up to check the room before the guest leaves. Nope. They never check to see if a lamp is missing, if the TV is broken, or if the linens are ruined. They simply take the payment, trust that the transaction is honest and complete, and wave goodbye to the guest.
This approach is basically like letting a complete stranger house at your home while you go on vacation without ever meeting them, getting their last name, or asking for a reference. It's incredibly vulnerable. I mean, I can't even imagine lending my car to someone with that little oversight, let alone giving them the keys to a hospitality business.
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
But the rationale behind that vulnerability is where things get really interesting. The operators of this B&B, they don't see this as a risk. No, they view it as an elevation of the human experience. Zhu Feng's operating philosophy states that this is the most decent, the most civilized, and the simplest way to treat guests.
Huh.
It's rooted in a highly optimistic assumption right out of the gate, which is that every single guest who walks through their door is already a well-cultivated, highly civilized person.
So they just give them the absolute benefit of the doubt, no questions asked.
Completely. They project their ideal standard of humanity onto whoever walks through the door.
Wow.
They assume a guest will naturally refrain from stealing, that they won't damage the property, that they won't sneak away without paying, and that they certainly won't use the room for any illegal activities.
Okay, I'm buying the beautiful sentiment here. It's lovely.
It is.
But let's be real for a second. If you leave your doors unlocked to the general public, someone is eventually going to track mud on the carpet or break a lamp.
Definitely.
You can't just manifest perfect customers. Did they actually survive this without going bankrupt? Because when this beautiful idealistic model collides with actual messy human behavior, I have to imagine things went sideways.
You'd be right. They did go sideways. And Shufeng is actually very honest about this reality check.
Oh, really?
Yeah. After several months of operating this way, they experienced exactly the kinds of unpleasant events you would expect when you have zero oversight.
We have to talk about the specific damages they list because they are oddly detailed and honestly kind of hilarious in a grim way.
They really are.
They talk about guests ruining bed sheets and pillowcases to the point where they can't even be washed. They just have to be thrown straight in the trash.
Yeah.
And then there are the bath towels. It specifically mentions towels left so incredibly dirty that the hosts have no idea how people have used them.
It's a very diplomatic way of saying some guests completely trashed the room. Like, what on earth were they doing with those towels? Cleaning an engine block.
Right. That's exactly what I thought. But here's where my brain gets stuck. If I'm running a bed and breakfast and my guests are destroying my property, like if I am constantly throwing away sheets and buying new towels because I have no idea what radioactive material someone wiped off their boots, isn't the system fundamentally failing?
You would think so.
Usually, if someone ruins a towel, the hotel charges that credit card they hold on file for incidentals. But here, the B&B absorbs 100% of the loss. How is this sustainable? Are they just writing it off as a bizarre marketing expense?
Not at all. That is the crux of the practical dilemma here. They are fully aware they are bleeding money on these incidents.
Okay.
And as you can imagine, anyone who looks at their books has tried to intervene. They've received plenty of advice from others on how to plug this very obvious financial leak.
I'm sure every accountant they've ever spoken to has been having a massive panic attack.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Shufeng outlines 4 specific pieces of advice they were given by well-meaning business people.
Let's hear them.
1.
Yeah.
Check passports or IDs upon registration. Standard practice. 2. Require the room fee and a deposit before the guest even unpacks.
Makes sense.
3. Inspect the rooms thoroughly before the guest is allowed to leave. And 4. Implement strict written rules that include specific financial compensation for damages.
But that's not even strict advice. That's just Hotel Management 101. That is the absolute baseline reality of operating a business where strangers sleep in your beds.
It is. Yet the operators of the B&B explicitly reject every single piece of that common sense advice. Yeah, they refuse to implement a single one of those 4 rules.
This is where I need you to help me understand, because why would a business willingly absorb the cost of ruined property?
Well,
Why just accept that you're going to lose money on destroyed inventory when the fix is so painfully simple? To them, this clearly isn't about hospitality or profit margins anymore, is it?
no, it's not about profit at all. It's about a much larger worldview.
Okay.
To understand why they reject standard business practices, we have to look at their core motivation. Their goal isn't to provide a place to sleep. They're actively trying to create what they call an international family.
An international family.
Right. And if your foundational premise is that everyone who walks through your door is family, you can't treat them like suspects. You don't ask your aunt for a $50 security deposit before she sleeps in your guest room.
Okay, fair point. Though I will say, my family usually doesn't leave my towels in a state where I have to question the laws of physics.
True.
But I get the sentiment. I do.
Beyond the family concept, Shufeng relies on what we might call the mathematics of morality.
The mathematics of morality, I like that.
The operating philosophy argues that 98 to 99% of people on Earth are fundamentally good. They aren't bad actors.
Right.
Therefore, if you create strict security rules that apply to everyone, you are effectively treating 99% of good people like criminals, all just to prevent the 1 or 2% of bad actors from causing trouble.
Oh, that is so true. It instantly makes me think of TSA security lines at the airport.
Oh, that's a great example.
Like, millions and millions of innocent travelers have to take their shoes off, unpack their laptops, and put their shampoo in tiny plastic bags, all because of the horrific actions of a microscopic fraction of bad actors decades ago.
Exactly.
We have built an entire global infrastructure of suspicion to guard against the 1%, and the 99% just have to suffer the friction.
That is a perfect analogy. You see it everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, why is the tip jar at the coffee shop chained to the counter?
Right.
Why is baby formula locked behind plexiglass at the pharmacy? It's all friction designed for the 1%.
Yeah.
And Zufeng takes this from a logistical problem to a deep psychological argument. There is a profound operating principle they follow. Trust will make people more civilized and loyal. Doubt will make people more brutal and cunning.
Doubt will make people more brutal and cunning. That is heavy.
It really is. If we connect this to the bigger picture of human psychology, it's actually a recognized phenomenon. Systems of suspicion breed resentment.
Oh, for sure.
If you walk into a store and a security guard immediately follows you around, assuming you're going to shoplift, you feel degraded. It brings out a defensive, negative reaction.
You feel like a criminal even when you haven't done anything.
Exactly. But offering someone genuine dignity and unearned trust can actually elevate their conduct, give them a reputation to live up to. Giving someone the benefit of the doubt gives them a sense of self-respect.
But let me challenge that for a second. That's a wonderful sentiment, but does it actually hold up in practice?
Fair question.
If I leave a pile of cash on a park bench, my profound trust in humanity isn't going to civilize the guy who walks by and decides to pocket it. Does trust actually civilize a bad actor? Or does it just make you an easy mark?
It's a completely valid critique, and it borders on blind stupidity in a traditional capitalist framework.
Right.
But they aren't arguing that trust magically cures a thief on the spot. They are arguing that systematically a culture of doubt degrades everyone, while a culture of trust elevates everyone over time.
I see.
By not checking the rooms, they are saying, we refuse to let the towel ruiners dictate how we treat the rest of humanity.
They are holding the line for the 99%. I love that. It makes sense on a human level.
It does.
But from what I understand about the source material, they take this way beyond psychology. They aren't just trying to make people feel good. They believe they are literally altering the fabric of the universe, right?
Exactly. This is where we shift from psychological theory into a full-blown spiritual mandate.
Okay, here we go.
The Lifechanyuan international family doesn't view themselves merely as eccentric hoteliers. They view themselves as Chanyuan celestials.
Celestials.
Yeah.
Let's unpack that. What does that mean in this context?
They believe they have a specific cosmic mission to initiate a new era for mankind. They see themselves as pioneers who must set a civilized example for the rest of the world to follow.
Okay.
The argument is that if you are trying to usher in a new, enlightened era of humanity, you simply cannot imitate the methods of the old era.
So the old era being the security deposits and the locks.
Right. If they use security deposits, ID checks, and room inspections like every other hotel on Earth, they aren't pioneers at all. They're just perpetuating the old fear-based system.
So they have to embody the future they want to create, even if it costs them in the present.
Exactly.
Right.
But it's how they justify those costs that is truly mind-bending.
Yes. This is the part that completely broke my brain when I was reviewing the notes. They introduce an economic theory that I have never, ever heard before.
It's pretty unique.
It's their ultimate justification for why they don't care about bleeding money on ruined linens. Walk me through this cosmic balance sheet.
Gladly. The most radical justification here is their belief regarding the universe's energy. They operate on the principle that the sum of positive and negative energies in the universe is always exactly zero.
Always zero, like a law of thermodynamics.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Like a conservation of energy, but applied to hospitality and human interaction.
Wow.
Therefore, in their view, what you pay and what you get are always perfectly equal in the grand scheme of things.
Mm.
Because of this universal law, there is actually no such thing as a loss.
Okay, I have to jump in here and try to reason this out. If cosmic energy always balances to zero, then a ruined bath towel or a guest skipping out on a bill isn't a financial deficit on a spreadsheet.
Nope.
It's just an energy transfer in the universe. So if someone steals a lamp from room 4, the universe just absorbed a lamp's worth of negative energy, and it will eventually balance out with positive energy somewhere else.
You've got it. A traditional business views a stolen towel as a negative subtraction from their profit margin. An accountant looks at it and says, we're down $20.
Right.
Lifechanyuan views it as an energetic rebalancing. Chauvin literally states that because of this law, they simply don't worry about someone taking things, damaging things, or sneaking away without paying.
It's the ultimate Zen approach to accounting. Like, oh, the books are in the red this month. Don't worry. The universe will balance it out in positive energy. The audit is fine.
Exactly.
It's like karma, but applied as a corporate tax strategy. I just can't imagine trying to explain that to the Canadian Revenue Agency.
It completely defies all conventional business logic. But what's vital to understand is that they aren't just making this up as a convenient excuse for running a sloppy B&B.
Oh, they actually practice what they preach.
They claim historical proof. Before they ever opened this bed and breakfast to the public, they tested this philosophy for a decade.
A 10-year experiment. Wait, where?
At a community they established called the New Oasis for Life. For 10 years, the members of this community lived together following a doctrine they call the 800 values for the new era human being.
Okay, hold on. 800 values. That sounds absolutely exhausting.
It does sound like a lot.
If their whole thing is radical trust and having no rules, how does an 800 value rule book fit into that? That sounds like the most micromanaged society on Earth.
It's a really great distinction to make. They don't view these values as external rules imposed by a police force or a management team.
Okay, so what are they?
They view them as an internal operating system. It's not Rule 412, do not steal towels. It's an ingrained value system where the desire to steal the towel doesn't even exist in the first place.
Got it. That makes more sense.
And according to their own records, this 10-year experiment was a massive success.
What were the actual results? Like, what did it look like?
They claim it resulted in a literal utopian environment. For a decade, within this community, there was no theft, no crime, no quarrels, and no mutual harm.
Really? 10 whole years?
Yep. They describe it as a place where if you dropped cash on the ground, no one would pocket it. Doors were left unbolted every single night.
So they basically built a society of the 99%.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
when they apply this radical trust to a bed and breakfast in British Columbia, they aren't doing it blindly or naively.
Right.
They are taking a model that they believe has been empirically proven to work within their closed community, and they are stress testing it by extending it to the general public. They are inviting the messy, unpredictable world into their utopia.
Wow. So if we synthesize this whole deep dive, what started out sounding like a quirky, maybe slightly naive Canadian B&B with a terrible business model is actually something else entirely.
It really is.
It is a profound experiment in human nature. It's about cosmic energy, the thermodynamics of hospitality, and perhaps most relatable for all of us, it is a stubborn, intentional refusal to let the 1% of bad actors dictate how we treat the 99% of good people.
And it raises a really important, deeply personal question for you, the listener, to reflect on. Take a step back and look at your own life, your relationships, your workplace, your community. Where are you building defensive walls?
That's a great question.
Where are you creating strict policies or wearing emotional armor just to protect yourself against that hypothetical 1%?
The emotional TSA lines we build in our own lives.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What would happen if you stripped all of that friction away? If you decided to operate with what this philosophy calls heavenly standards,
Yeah.
giving people the absolute benefit of the doubt.
It's a huge risk.
It is. Would you just be taken advantage of and left with ruined proverbial towels? Or would you find that the people around you actually rise to the level of trust you offer them?
It's such a fascinating challenge to our default settings. Does offering absolute trust actually inspire better behavior in strangers?
Right.
Or does a B&B with no rules simply attract a self-selecting group of people who are already decent, while the few people who ruin the towels are just a necessary energetic cost of doing business?
It's a lot to think about.
I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over today, and it goes back to that hotel from the very beginning.
Okay.
Imagine you walk into a place that doesn't ask for your ID, doesn't want your credit card, and just hands you the keys with a smile, trusting you completely to do the right thing.
Yeah.
How would that change the way you behave inside that room?
It's a powerful thought. It really makes you wonder who you are when nobody is checking up on you.
I'll let you ponder that. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.